Hey, I completely wasn't ready for this yet, but the character is in the World of Horror server in the mod repository channel. I just want to say that much so I get it off my mouth before I say literally anything else, but this stream is going to be more of a chill stream, as I said, so if you're watching this stream as it's happening, well, 1, there's a 7 to 8 second delay, but 2, we're also just testing the character out, making sure that there are no crashes, because otherwise, what's going to happen is that when there are crashes, I'm going to, 1, probably show you some things that are happening in my graphic image manipulation program, but I'm just going to be safe for the robots for now. But we're essentially going to do 3 runs as we get into Ath, World of Horror, character exclusive custom character, and it's the one I made. There are 2 that I do still need to make. 1 is just out of interest and the other is out of obligation, but we'll see. Kind of ethical obligation. But let's just go on. I'm not gonna really... Shoot, I already did it. It hasn't even been a minute since I started. But let me see here. Oh, actually, hey, you know what I didn't do? Hey, the stream is gonna go wonky for a moment. Or maybe the VOD, because I forgot to do this too. So let me do this. And I will... the stream will cut out for a moment. Bear with me as I try to make things right. So, wait about 15 seconds. Waiting about 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 9, 8, I'm sorry, waiting here. I'm gonna leave the lighthouse just to show that maybe you're seeing something. But otherwise, we're gonna be back in 3, 2, 1, hopefully sooner than that. And yeah, let's start testing this character. If nothing else, I mean, if you really want to see, I may or may not show you basically what I've been working with. But otherwise, we're just gonna do at least 3 runs this stream. Might even still go 2 hours, depending on how slow I go, because, man... I might make some small adjustments, which is why when you check in the World of Horror repository, or World of Horror server on Discord, in the mod repository channel, I might actually switch or modify things during the stream. So again, literally more I guess a social stream if you want to call it that, if you want to ask me anything or say anything, and we'll just have fun chatting for the next 2 hours as I make sure that this character is working fine, because if it isn't, well, yeah, as I said, I'm going to be doing things inside the run. I'm still playing on Harbinger. I don't know why I am. I wanted to actually increase the knowledge a bit and the charisma, but that might be a bit much with on the run, considering how fast you can level up. Because if you didn't already know already, and I do say as much if you were to go and download the character right now, is that on the run, if you didn't already know, and I guess we'll be spoiling some things here and there, not that it's much of a spoiler, but On the Run is a perk that belongs to another character. It functionally works as intended. There are some odd things that you could do beforehand, and I'm wondering if you can still do them. I don't know if I have Recluse. We'll check to be sure, because then I want to test basically do some extensive testing. And I forgot what I was going to say. So, but we're still going to do this normally because, again, the bare minimum, and yeah, I could just test things out myself, but I want to go through a run. Usually I go through a run as I forget where my threat levels are at before I release the character, and I did for this character as well, but I want to do it on stream just to be sure I have things. So I definitely put the police in the wrong location, but I think we're still fine here. Kind of. Not really. Let's move this a bit. Again, this doesn't matter as much, but we still want to survive as long as possible, if possible. So as I see people catching this stream, not finally catching, some people have caught the stream before, others haven't. I do also want to think about streaming on other times in case there are other, viewers who want to watch streams but can't because I'm streaming literally like at 2 to 4 a.m. at their place, but, I'll do my best, and we'll move on. If I do, I do. If I don't, then someone let me know, and I will do my best, because I don't really mind streaming. As of the next few months, I have a pretty open stream schedule, so I can choose any time slot I want, as other games may or may not come out. So, some behind-the-scenes comments, I guess I'll say here, because I did correct it beforehand. I think about 8 hours at least beforehand. Yeah, so 1 a.m. I know it's 1 a.m. for some. I know based on my analytics, because I can see that on this platform, I have basically audience or viewers of videos and streams from literally around the world. You know, considering how much people have subscribed and actually view the channel, I know that it's not a lot overall, but there's still like 5 here, 10 in this country, 7 from this country, 2 from this country. If we look at the continents and try to map everything, basically it's an even spread. I wouldn't say there are any... I have a majority of viewers from certain continents or countries, which sounds odd, I know, funny enough, but I think most of them, and it's pretty apparent on my channel, so it's not really like I'm hiding anything, but almost all of my views come from one-shot videos that I've done that are more formal in nature, like the WW video. I'm not going to say the name because I'm afraid of robots. Let me see here. Oh, I should have taken Metamorphosis and or Teacher or not Nails, something else. But essentially I have audience members from around the globe. And that sounds odd, but when you look at my most popular videos, they kind of make sense because they are videos that anyone can access, to be more precise. You know, tips videos, guide videos. So obviously if you play video games and people around most of the world at least play video games and they want help or advice or something like that, or tips, then yeah, they're gonna watch it. I feel like this walking sprite, as we move back to talking about the character in general, how am I staying at 13 stamina, 13 reason, by the way? But, yeah, this character in general, as we talk about the character again, I feel like the chibi is a bit too wide, but if I tried anything else, because there are small adjustments I made here and there as I proceed to level up once, that I've done for pretty much all the sprites that I've done. Again, there are 5 main sprites: the chibi, the main, the house, the icon, which is less of an issue, so really only 4. But if you do a B costume, then yes, you would have 5 images to really work on as we put on the Caracasa mask, just for the sake of seeing if that works. Obviously, I could just restart runs and give the character the items that I want to test, but at the same time, as I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, I just want to see what happens when I go through a whole run, for the sake of balance mainly, as I proceed to give this character 7 strength on Harbinger, 8 strength on a non-Harbinger difficulty, but I think you get the point. Do I just want to eat this in the face? I have 8 strength. Why am I... Yeah, 8 strength into this. I perfectly get to do this. With 7 strength, there's an 8 time unit increase on brace and a 3 time unit increase on attack. So I barely would not be able to do this if I had 7 strength, which is why, again, at this point, I think on the run is more than enough, even though on the run can be a boon and a... not a boon. I forgot what the exact wording was, but you get what I mean. Hopefully. And let's get out. Unfortunately, since I equipped the mask, I can't see what the character looks like with low stamina, but I know it works because otherwise the game would have crashed. Also, now you know what? Let's go for the scissors for giggles. I can also try to test Slit Mouth, but I'm pretty sure the scissor lady one-shots me if I lose too much HP and then get Slit Mouth. Also reminding myself that I keep forgetting that Slit Mouth also decreases your strength. I don't know why. I guess it does, though, considering how hard the scissor lady hits you. Oh yes, I was having trouble saying the word scissor. So, I could have equipped the Demon Mask, all things considered, and unfortunately there's no graphic for Demon Mask, which is why, if you're wondering, it's not a thing. I think at this point, I could have equipped it, but we're gonna do this instead. And considering how far we've gone, I could just... I think Slit Mouth is just an injury, right? Question mark? Still, though, I do want to play it a little safe here. We are losing -3 all, so... Yeah, unless the scissor... Even now, if the scissor lady raised her scissors, I can't take it without dying, so... I guess I'll move on. And then we get out. But if nothing else, I can test Slit Mouth myself. One last time, we're just testing the character for the run. And we want to do at least 3 runs. 1 on Ath, 1 on Zektast, and then 1 on Ill-Fated. I could do Ill-Fated Zektast to put them all in one, but, you know. So this character, if you haven't already noticed, or for those who don't know, has Escape Artist and Pushing Yourself. Pushing Yourself, I think, is just a good perk to give to protagonists if you're using characters from other IPs. Otherwise, you know, Survival Instinct and Winging It, which are part of the Pushing Yourself perk pack, right? are pretty safe bets, in my opinion. But otherwise, if there's something that makes more sense lore-wise, or immerse-wise, or gameplay-wise, feel free to give custom characters things. In fact, you can just go into custom characters that you download, my characters included, and just change them to your will. It's not like it's something that's really hard to do for those who may not know, but just to put it out there. And then Escape Artist, as I forget to equip the Cursed Scissors. Escape Artist I think, fits this character somewhat well. Some people might be wondering, why don't you give this character Witch's Child or the other magic-based perk pack? Well, because I decided to use Escape Artist over those. Let's just say that much. Also, nice luck failures, by the way. Feels really good. But so if you haven't, really learned the custom character creation process, for me, even though, yes, you should go lower than 39 stat spread, by that I mean, well, I have 2 points in strength, but we can still kind of work out how many stats a character has in general. So 7 strength plus 6, 13, 17, 19, and then 22 here. I think there's more, right? Am I going crazy? Yeah, because we add luck. Luck is not affected by Harbinger, I believe. So that's 28. And if we weren't on Harbinger, this character would have a 33 stat spread. Am I getting that right? Let me just make sure again. 13, 17, 19, 22. And then you add 5 because that's overall how much Harbinger takes away. So yeah, this character has a 33 stat spread. I might want to increase that. In fact, I should have probably increased that. So I might increase knowledge by 1 and charisma by 1. But we'll see. I'm also working on the Japanese version. I just have to translate the lore text. If you want the bare minimum, you could just translate the perks. But I didn't want to do that, so here I am. As we take 2 all damage. Do I want to take 2 all damage? Yeah, we take 2 all damage. I can take 2 all damage. I could also throw the Karakasa Mask. Decided not to. Not right now. But anywho, moving on. So yeah, Escape Artist pushing herself. I think most main characters of their series or IP will have pushing yourself, but maybe not. Again, it depends on what you, the creator of a mod, or anyone who creates their mod, believes that their character should have, and I think that's good enough. This is Metamorphosis, isn't it? Yeah, I'm about to be in some pain. So, let's find out what we do. We take -3 all, unless I can brace into something. 8 strength, or 9 strength, sorry. And 2 knowledge. Yeah, the Cursed Scissors are pretty okay as a weapon. Granted, the power is quite high in this encounter. Still, being able to brace at 8 or 9 strength into a Cursed Scissors attack is pretty cool. Especially with at least 70% accuracy. Obviously, this character has... Oh, I think the quote-unquote on-the-run perk activated. That's why I was like, why did the screen flash so greatly on that one encounter? Also, I just accidentally died, but we'll do another run. I want to get through an Ath run. If not, I'll give it 2 or 3 tries before we move on. This also happens to be the first character I've enabled 2-bit support for, but I think to a kind of cheat as I get into another Ath run is to make your character 1-bit or 2-bit and then add the flip side. So what I did was I did the 1-bit version first and then added the 2-bit as a costume, or enabled the 2-bit as the default costume. So if you don't want to do a costume B, you could just literally do 2-bit support. So this is the 2-bit and then this is the 1-bit version. I'm shrugging in real life, but if you can think of a B version, what you could also do is just add in the assets for 1-bit, 2-bit, and then link them appropriately in the Ito file and allow the player to, as I waste the empty bottle, allow the player to choose between them. But I decided since I wasn't going to do a costume B yet, and I just wanted to get the character out at least, then yeah, I felt like this was a proper decision. Maybe not. Maybe some people will really, really want this character dressed as a certain Mosin Roreen, but again, that's not what we have right now, so yeah. On an off-tangent question, because I've gotten this question before, and I think it's appropriate to just address generally, hold on, let me see if I can sell the bandage and get something at the hardware store, is why I may not have started, tried streaming more during prime time for my country of residence, the US. It's because I felt that I didn't Not that I didn't have the ability, but I didn't feel it was appropriate. Also, it happens to cut into things I do in real life. So funny enough, streaming at a time when probably one, most people aren't streaming, and two, most people aren't watching can be weird, but it's the time that works best for me. One of the few times I can stream, but it would be after quote-unquote prime time hours in my country of residence. So, you know. But as we get back into talking about the character, as I proceed to fail to use the crowbar, can I do this? I have to do two. Oh, crowbar. Oh, crowbar. But yeah, so the 2-bit, 1-bit versions, if you know, I would accept that much. I don't usually, and even then, if you just want to make the character themselves, and then just double up on their costume, or you can quote-unquote lock the outfit by not putting in a name. You can do either or. But if you wanna at least give people the choice to do 2-bit, 1-bit, I think that's also an okay, or a better, further work that you can put in a character and then add quote-unquote costumes. That way, people don't have to do the work themselves on their side of the screen, as I almost die to reason here. In fact, I may still die to reason. We can if we level up into reason. You know what, for giggles and for Kana, we will do this. And theoretically speaking, yes, you can still game this effect on the run, because if you know how the horror progress works, then you can essentially try to count. But at the same time, I think it adds a good amount of, well, if nothing else, player knowledge, but a good amount of immersion in terms of you don't know when this character will no longer be able to get experience. But hey, so if we keep the bath, no, I think I still want to do the thing. Whatever. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything, but we'll increase knowledge for the sake of not dying to too much brain damage, which I think is appropriate for this character. On the flip side, we only have one reason, so let's actually take botanist. I could take arms, but decided not to do that, and we'll move on. So this character was a work in progress for about, I want to say, at least a week. I want to say a week and a half to be more accurate. So I've been sitting on mainly the main and the house images. In my opinion, those two take the longest for me. And not just because there are so many pixels they have to do, because if that were the case, I think the back sprite can have a lot of pixels as well, just because it's normally wider. But for me, it's mainly the house and the main, because those are the ones, alongside the back, of course, that you'll be seeing the most. The chibi is less of an issue because it's literally a chibi. But if you want to make it look pretty, I guess it can take a while there too. It's just that for me, I've been sitting, I sit on a work in progress, and then sometimes I leave it for a while. Definitely when I get done with the character, or anything really in real life, I usually like to let it sit for a while so I can come back and see what the character looks like. And then if I decide that something's not right, I can go back and make corrections or modifications, or if I need to just I've done that more than a few times already. So pretty much once per character, I've had to just scratch something, whether it's the main image, whether it's the house image, and then I just had to start over. So thankfully, it's usually for the better, but at this point, usually, and at the same time, yes, I do try to keep backups, or I work on, how do I want to say? When I'm working on one of these images, or the image assets of anything really, but we can use the custom character here because that's what I do. I keep steps of progress, or basically saves of what I've been working on. That way, if I happen to not like what I've done, I can revert back and start deleting. Now, most of the time, what that actually results in is me just moving on and making adjustments to whatever work I'm working on, but then I still at least have the previous things that I've done before, the previous steps, so to say, and I can go back and look at them. That way I can see how far I've gone. And I think it's a good thing to also just keep in mind, if for nothing else, then not posterity, but for the sake of looking back at the history of what I've done and going, man, that looked really weird back then. So, and some of the assets I use, especially for characters that belong to other IPs, are pretty much trace jobs, let's not deny it. Some of them are eyeballs, like the main image here that you see for this custom character is, again, I don't want to say names, even though sometimes I let it slip, but this one was an eyeball job, so based on observation, obviously that's something that you would probably do anyway. Otherwise, as I mentioned on another social networking site, I forgot the slide locks for this character, so I added them in. So if you go and look at one of my, I guess we'll say, posts there, you'll notice that the character does not have side locks. So yes, there was some work done between then and now. But that's why, again, I usually try to keep backups. Funny enough, as I say that, I did lose progress on the house sprite for this character because I actually, for some reason, it disappeared into the Aether, or the backup I had. So I'm kind of just sitting here, or I was sitting here earlier in the week, and going, man, that sucks. I have to do it again. Pretty much just say that much, as I think I lost all my experience. So here we are sitting at level 3, and hey, what we see is what we get. That being said, when we get to Ill-Fated, it'll be interesting there, because as I may or may not have mentioned, but we'll say it again, if I did, on Ill-Fated, most characters get 133 experience. The character who On the Run belongs to only gets 66. However, if you put On the Run on a custom character, as you will see later on in the stream, you'll notice that the character gets 133 experience. So that's why I decided on the stat spread I had with 2 knowledge, but maybe it's still too much. Again, if you don't like it, you could just switch it yourself. I personally would not really doubt it, but at the same time, on a non-Harbinger difficulty, you have 3 knowledge anyway, so that's why I feel on Harbinger it's a bit more fair. And again, as I said earlier, on Ill-Fated, you get a bunch of experience, so what happens is that you get to level up twice, and if you're on an all-perk run, then yeah, it turns into a lot of possibly good perks. Yeah, really only 2, but if those 2 perks are Core Strength and Fast Swimmer, whoo! Are you profiting off of Ill-Fated on this character? And then this character has Pushing Yourself too, so it's not it won't make the biggest impact, but you will still be able to grab Survival Instinct, right? Why am I going crazy? Yeah, Survival Instinct, and then pass checks on Ill-Fated. I believe that's still the case, right? Let me know if something's changed. Otherwise, do we just gamble on this? I think we just gamble on this. We could do better, but we'll just throw all of our monkeys in one barrel. I don't know why I use that phrasing, but here I am. Also, I forgot to do a thing, so let me just fix that as I get back into the game and figure out what I want to do. I think we have to hit at least 4 more damage before we desperate action our way out, as I proceed to do the same thing elsewhere. I haven't hit everything, so you know what? Just prep strong, out of here. And away I go. So yeah, but until then, not really much else to talk about. I can show you, like, at least the creation process of the main. Everything else except for maybe the back. The back, I kind of, for some characters, you'll notice that I do a certain thing, which is essentially, you know, my secret trick to do more of the back sprites is to literally just horizontal flip the main or home sprite and just do a bit of adjusting. That's literally all I do. Now, at the same time, you'll notice that these things stick out over the character. That's the problem is for this back sprite in particular. Unless I make the character smaller, which I could. But it's another thing that you might ask is, Jordan, why don't you just shift it over to the left? Because if you shift it over to the left, you actually overlap this button here. And so most people, you know, their sprites happen to just work well enough where this and this don't have any problems. So, but for me, I like using most of the space granted to me. Unfortunately, what that causes is things like this. So in this particular case, I might cut this off, but if I cut it off, people might be wondering, hey, why are these pixels cut off? And so now I'm just sitting here going, well, I gotta explain myself. Also, Scissors or Vigil with 5 stamina and 3 reason. This seems like such a bad idea. But a previous character had the issue of overlapping over the return button. Not that most of the time you're returning from the mystery board, but, you know, it helps to not hide that in case someone accidentally, you know, someone, I think me included, has already accidentally entered the mystery board when we didn't mean to, so hey. But we'll clap 5 times and see what we can do. Unfortunately, we don't even get out in 1 turn here, so I guess we do this. And if we need more, which we will throw the wooden bat. That's a lot of damage to be losing out on, though. So, what do I want to do? 70%? You know, this would be nice. The crowbar is such a below-average weapon. It's better than nothing, granted. At least it grants you 6 damage as opposed to trying to kick 3 times, but still. Also, with 9 strength, we barely get to Desperate Prep Strong. I think I called it something different in my tips video, and the battle tutorial video, so I do feel a little bit bad about that, but unless there's a big fact, a big misinformation fact in either of those videos, I don't think I'll make a change. Because usually at the baseline, I want you to be able to understand what I'm saying, so hey. Also, we have Survival Instinct, thankfully. Unfortunately, what that doesn't protect me from are obviously encounters, but at the same time, End of Mystery Pain. In this case, the claps and bows. Unfortunately, I increased my reason there, but at the same time, also, I guess, what we'll call... Well, I call them a bigger name. It's events that you're guaranteed to take hits in, but I think cadaver events are much more accurate to the genre of game we're playing. But as we proceed to probably miss one of these, because what are the odds we get 5 claps, right? Okay, never mind. You know, I would like this luck elsewhere, but at the same time, I won't really argue with good luck when I find it. It's just that it's not the most optimal place for me to receive good luck. But, anywho. And yeah, it could just be me being biased, but having a character that starts with a high amount of strength is probably just good because I like bracing and I like strength weapons. But at the same time, I'm not saying you can't do anything else with a custom character. If nothing else, this is a stat spread that I'm really comfortable playing with. I guess that's what I'll leave it at. So bow, clap 3 times. I could fight these encounters actually, but we'll see. We'll wait until the next step to see if I really want to do that. On the other hand, -4 all. You know what? Maybe, unless we get a... Is there a reason? I feel like there's a reason event here that we just take reason damage. Hey there, by the way. I see you coming into the chat, but... You know what? For giggles, because I've done more than enough for this character on Ath. We can test out Zektast Ill-Fated and see how good or badly that goes. As I proceed to still throw the wooden bat, I guess. So yeah. But yeah, I also, on a tangent note for about 20 seconds, I did check things behind the stream. I didn't really see anything. I'm not gonna try to pretend that there was something wrong. So I hope that everyone who had troubles watching my stream, because it was more than one person, if you weren't aware. Also, yes, Survival Instinct does not proc for Vigil Steps. Well, now I know apparently, but hey, pain. So, anywho, let us see for sure. And then I'll probably do Zektast Ill-Fated just to at least test things out. Otherwise, we could do a 3rd run. I mean, I wanted to do a 3rd run anyway. So we'll see if I get to it. And again, and for anyone watching in the future, if you've made it this far, I assume that, you know, you're somewhat interested. So for those people watching from the future, watching this as an archive VOD, let me know if there's something that you want to know about or you want to see, and I will do my best to respond. Otherwise, in Zektast, we die at 42% Doom with this character, so that's kind of why I was worrying a bit. At the same time, if you get Ill-Fated or this character levels up faster, quicker, it can be a better thing. Also, funny enough, winging it with On the Run, if you're lucky with RNG, yes, you can profit. Unfortunately, I don't like RNG as much, so I can't, yeah, Desu, right? But that some messages I do see, but I'm talking about something, so if I don't get to them for whatever reason, yeah. But yeah, for this character in particular, maybe I should have this be the darker 2-bit color. Probably should, all things considered, because you can barely see it here. But otherwise, I can switch back to the 1-bit costume and move on. What is the total stat ideally for custom characters? At this point, I would have to agree with someone and say, was it 39 or was it 38? 38 or 39 if you're not giving them something absurdly strong in terms of bonus items, in this case perks or stuff, even though on the run can be a double-bladed thing. Otherwise, 33 to 35 for your total stat spread if you're giving them something completely insane. Maybe even less, depending. And even that fluctuates because, say if you give... Because the other one is luck. Luck is normally a stat that doesn't matter as much, because also we now know that zero statting in luck doesn't really mean as much. But at the same time, luck is important too, just luck weighs less if we're using that phrasing. If you don't know what that means, let me know. But if you're trying to weigh the stats qualities, basically 33 to 35 and luck costs less, and keeping in mind that Harbinger removes 1 from every stat except for luck. So bare minimum, you want, as I forget to grab a weapon, you want every stat to be at least 2, and then work from there. Because otherwise, as I said, your character just immediately dies on Harbinger. We have a custom character like that, and I don't think it's ever been corrected. So, yeah, at least 3, thinking in your stat. And then after that, you can work on, or, well, no, 2. Was it 2? Yeah, 2, sorry. 2. At least 2 in every stat, except for luck. Luck you can actually put at 0, but I would say leave it at 1 or 2. And then give your characters stats based on that. No more than 39, unless they have unless they're like, they have 2 status effects that they can't take away, and they're heavily gift. Again, you can be creative with it, but I hope that gives you some kind of, not baseline, but baseline to work with. So yeah. Also, we still need points and other stats, so running shoe stealth would be nice. Unfortunately, yeah, we'll see. Does this character just die then? Huh. Because after a certain point, well, if you make good use of your doom and stuff, I guess not. We could also do this. Oh, wait. We have paranoia. Yeah, so that happens there. So, little, you know what? Even small things like paranoia here and there can, you think it doesn't make a difference. You think it's just, oh, the effect of losing stamina every time you lose reason, maybe. Or vice versa, whatever you see. But obviously paranoia also has the effect of, hey, this turns into an option where you can't let the Hermit or Yoichi or Kyoko go and benefit. I think Kyoko actually still debuffs you, if we're talking about that, but anywho. The 4 strength and dexterity on the character hurt's gonna bump it to 5. Yeah, so if you need to make changes, make changes. Because even that, you might not feel it, or maybe you do, but if you feel that it's not enough, especially on certain difficulties, then go ahead and do so. But yeah, in my opinion, again, some people don't agree. I would disagree that having 4 strength dexterity is a bit too low. 5, I think, would be the minimum. Unless you know what the design of your character is supposed to be, and you don't mind it. But again, to each creator, their own thoughts, right? So yeah. Also, did we not run into a single enemy, by the way? Woof. So away I go. Actually, let's do scissors so we can level up as much as possible. We might still be okay, funny enough, but we'll see, right? So 5 bows, and we do have Recluse, I think. You're playing on True Believer, so yeah, that's... Again, maybe... I'm not saying that you don't know a lot about World of Horror, because obviously... I'm not gonna hide it from the chat. I know the person who's mentioning things right now. I don't think we need to be too anonymous, but at the same time, if you... In the end, right? If you feel that it's not enough, you do you. Because, man, if it's not fun for you, then it's probably not fun for someone else who might be playing in the same situation. Heck, even on Cultist or Initiate, right? So, again, that's why I wanted to put out, I'm not saying that anyone is good or bad, because heck, I'm on that spectrum. If I'm trying to be real objective, I'm not that great at World of Horror, let's admit it. But, at the same time, if someone else comes across a character and goes, oh, this is easy, you should nerf them, but then you don't feel, or other people don't feel, at that point, it's opinions, right? Also, I should have been doing this. I don't know why I haven't been, but hey. So yeah, and if you feel that's the case, I feel that's the case, so I mean, I'm here agreeing with you that 4 strength might be a bit low unless you have not a good reason, but you could persuade me to believe in a reason that makes sense, if that makes any sense. But I think for the character that you're talking about, yeah, I can see how you might want to do that, because otherwise it doesn't make as much sense considering the character. But I could be wrong. Someone else could come back and argue, because that character that the character we're talking about here, I'll admit I don't know as much about either. So funny enough, this character, considering that you play this character as on the run, I might be okay if I keep Doom low. At the same time, maybe I do want to up the things, because again, on the run is a double-bladed or double-sided, what do I want to say? None of these are really correct. But it has its pros and cons. But I guess we'll see, right? For me, if I can do it, then if I can pass this run without dying to Zectast literally at 84%, then I don't really mind. That being said, I do have ill-fated here, so maybe I should do a non-ill-fated run, right? But anywho, don't get it wrong, total garble, but notice that you can't pass any investigations, get enough stats for the lighthouse. So yeah, and that's the other thing too. So about 4 strength and dexterity, unless you concentrate on them really hard, and 1 strength doesn't have I forgot what this is, doesn't matter, I'm talking, but talking about something more important. But yeah, unless strength does not have a perk on level up, so unless you dedicate pretty much all of your level ups to strength, and if you do that, you're definitely not going to get dexterity if it starts at 4. Was that all 5 bows, by the way? But yeah, unless there's, you somehow reach level 8, you can't get strength and dexterity to 8. Now, you can still play around that, but at the same time, you're usually just going to be taking a lot of damage. So not having your strength at 5, yeah, and even you can argue even at 5 you wouldn't be able to do the same thing, but it's much easier to do at least strength or dexterity if they're at 5 than if they're at 4. And then you have to factor in Harbinger stuff, so otherwise you have to account for the fact that, yes, you're going to be taking 3 stamina, or 6 stamina if you have both, and you can't get either to 8, right? Is what I'm trying to say. Also, we're going to do this so that we at least don't die to Zectast, unless we get brain damage or something. So, this character does suffer a lot under Zectast. I will readily see that as a likely objective piece of information. But again, at the same time, theoretically speaking, I think I'm at like 70 to 80% horror progress if I'm using World of Horror terms, but hopefully we come out okay. We have 2 wooden bats, by the way. Where did we pick up one of these wooden bats? Because prepare. I'm going crazy. But anywho, yeah, I think we'll just take out of funds here and see. But yeah, if you notice that, again, I don't know, I'm sure there's some kind of logical fallacy behind it, but someone else will feel the same. So it's never a terrible, terrible idea. Now, obviously, you don't want to be outnumbered in an argument, probably like 2 to 20. So if 2 people support you, but 18 other people are saying otherwise, maybe there's something there. Again, maybe. Nothing is ever certain, because we've seen a few situations where the majority is wrong, but a 1 to 19 split, But in this case, I'm gonna trust you, the creator, in this case, to make the decision. But yeah, I think I can hit level 7. Again, we had ill-fated here, so it's not entirely inaccurate Zectast experience. So maybe I will bump things up. Because again, on the run can be so double-sided anyway, on top of the RNG of this game. Unless one thing I could do is take away a perk pack, but I don't think I want to do that. Because if nothing else, Survival Instinct and Winging It together, even though they're not the greatest perks, I want to throw in some of those Escape Artist perks so that, funny enough, so that it not dilutes, but broadens the pool. So yeah. So, I assume the custom content creators have the luxury to change the characters, so yeah. So, you do you, no one else can control them, and if they really wanted to, they could just edit the Ito file, right? But, at that point, we're talking about something else. And so, yeah, with that screen effect, that means that the horror, if you're using a certain character, it would show a chat thing in chat game as well. but it means that the horror's caught up, so I can't get any more experience. So, thankfully, I think we have more than enough stats to survive, so, yeah. As someone else also says, yeah, in chat. I looked over and saw it. But, anywho. I guess this is also more, not feasible, but palatable on the run on custom characters because of I think the horror change of the end of mystery still applies, so let me know because there's no way for me to check, right? But definitely for the character that on the run applies to, as I run into a painful enemy, their horror progress decreases by 10 at the end of every mystery. I'm gonna assume that's working the same way for custom characters with on the run, but at the same time, you get 133 experience on Ill-Fated, so yeah. Yes, this is the character I made. And I won't say the name. If you want to say it in chat, feel free to say it. I won't maul you for it, obviously. But I'm doing it for the robots, alright? And, I mean, I'm playing the character, so it's not like I'm really hiding anything, but this stream is more of a test of the character. If for nothing else gameplay-wise, which is why I'm doing a few runs with this character. And that's normally what I do before I release a character anyway. But this character is also already available. For those who haven't heard it, it's available in the repository, and I'm working on the Japanese version, which is really just changing things in the Ito file. So yeah. It is the protagonist of Gittle Liddy Sue 2s, so I don't know, I shouldn't need to be this wary about robots, but hey. And for those who don't know what the term robots means on this channel, I mean, hey. And at that point, just as an off-tangent for 15 seconds, that's not me trying to dodge anything, and because, oh, suspicious, oh, I'm doing something wrong. That's just, literally, robots have been known to do weird things, as I proceed to probably die here, because this is yes, I have survival instinct, but unfortunately, you just take 2 reason without the holy candle here. So, I guess we die again. But I do want to do a test run without Ill-Fated, so let's do that. But yeah, this is a protagonist. And normally I'm doing one. That's why another character I'm working on is more an obligation at this point. So I will try to do that, but I do want to do one more character, and that's cutting into my development time for a game I'm working on. So, a game I'm working on, if you didn't hear me say. But anywho. So, I think we can still work with this. And yes, it's a Harbinger thing, really. And I haven't seen a lot of characters come, because obviously most people gravitate towards, if you're really going out of left field, most people creating characters, as we move back to the topic of custom characters, relevant to the stream, is that they give people items, they give their characters items, but obviously more than enough people know that you can give them status effects. Now, again, as I also said on my special innovation video, you can give them things like on the run. You can give them things like the Necronomicon, things like that. So, and unfortunately, the Necronomicon character I had in mind, I don't think I'm going to be able to throw up on the repository, so therefore I won't make them. Because if you know what I'm implying, I don't think they would be appropriate, and that's the most I could say about it. Now, that's not, well, actually, haven't we? Have we not? Yeah, we haven't, so I'm not going to be doing that. I could put it somewhere else that's not on the World of Horror server, but I don't want to do that anyway. But the important part is that you can give a character the Necronomicon. I'm deciding whether or not, because if we take this is 2 perception. So, funny enough, on Zektas, this character does not want to pick up the Spiral Hood from Festival Timeline B, because otherwise you have 3 stats that are at 3 and below, and boy. No rush or anything, obviously, but you haven't found a good video guide on how to install mods. Yeah, that was the one. So funny enough, that's the video I was working on that I had to take down because I had misinformation. It would probably only be 2 or 3 minutes long because literally I'm just going to give you not the bare minimum, but it's kind of the thing. Also, unfortunately, because I don't work on Mac and consoles don't have mods, I can't really talk about that. But for PC, even I think Steam is also the local folder, right? Or local directory, but anywho. Let's decide on what I want to do here. Oh my goodness, this is such a bad spread, by the way. Wow, is this a really odd spread? Metamorphosis, Teacher, Recluse. But yeah, that's the video I was working on, so if that doesn't come out as a bonus during the weekend, hopefully I get it done by Monday. That way more people can start playing with mods that I can also watch. Because obviously, there are people playing with mods a lot more than you would think, but I'm shrugging as I say, there probably should be a video up to 1.0. I'm pretty sure someone has, and it's a good video too, but as I sit here taking 3 stamina damage, don't know, but using the Steam version, so yeah. The Haspin Modding Almanac, which is used on, so there is a modding almanac. If you search for that term on the Discord server, you'll probably find it. And that is basically the text version. Obviously, a video version would be nice as well, as I run here. But that's a lot of Doom progress, by the way. I just realized that's right. Because I'm this character, if I try to prepare for a weapon, it's going to end badly. So I should have probably just fought that enemy. Oof. Well, too late now. At the same time, we're on teacher, right? So I have to censor this. But yeah, I hope that helps out a little bit. I should still make a video though, as probably one of the only Harbinger players who has a platform that they make videos and stream on that plays a lot with custom content. If that's a mouthful to go through, but hey. Also, that's right, Zectast events, but let's, you know what? Yeah, I might leave the character as is, even though I don't believe in Zectast, but yeah. Because the thing is, at this point, I didn't want to, make it look like I was taking, as I try to concentrate on censoring this right after, but I didn't want to, make it look like I was copying off of the almanac, even though, at in this specific case, it wouldn't really be an issue, right? Because obviously, a video form would help out, but at the same time, because essentially what I'd be telling you is a big simplified version of what you can see in the almanac. And my reasoning behind not really giving things or making a video is because if you're interested in mods, right, you would probably look for these resources, and therefore that's why me and other people in chat can tell you to look for the almanac on the official World of Horror Discord server. World of Horror Discord server. Oh my goodness, my voice. But at the same time, obviously, so that more people can... Although, that's right, I didn't do a thing. Well, it's fine. Is it fine? It's fine. But, yeah, basically having a video would help out as I proceed to censor this. So, yeah, let us do this. I think I can brace. 7 strength, there's no way I can't brace into teacher attack, right? In-game. So, do 9 damage per, and we take 3 doom damage. But yeah. Anyway, that's the most I see about it. So yeah, you like video guides best. And yeah, unless someone else does it and they do it, well, if someone else does it, even if it's not the best job, I think it'll be more than enough. As long as they also let you know that an almanac exists, which I almost forgot to put in the video. That's one of the things I omitted. So that's why I was like, ooh, that's not great. So also I need to increase my knowledge, by the way. And hopefully we should be fine. Our horror progress, theoretically, we'll call it horror progress because there's nothing else to say, unless there's an easier... people have been starting to come up with World of Horror terms for this game, which I think is more than needed, but anywho. We have Book of Gore, you know what? Yeah, we'll do it. So learn better via videos, still completely new to modding the game. So yeah, again, a video would help. I did put out a bare minimum video as I need to take down the censor, sorry, but... let us move onward. 6 charisma, 2 funds. Now I think I can actually just buy something, right? So let's do that. And move on. So the almanac is not updated to 1.0. Yeah, it's definitely still relevant. It's basically the best English guide almanac and information we have on getting someone into modding more than just a beginner's introduction, in my opinion. So that being said, I need 2 of these, right? Yeah, I do. So I think we should be fine. No, we're not fine. Are we fine? Yeah, we're fine because Zectast already hit us for 21%. So unfortunately, my strength is going to continue to decrease, but I don't need to put stats in dead stats, basically. That's funny enough, so to say. But yeah, no, I swear that the person said that they updated to 1.0. Now that you said that, never mind it is. Yeah, they did. So, but even if it weren't, right, then it would still be the best thing we have. I need to rest once, by the way. So yeah, it's been updated a lot, though. I know it has been updated a lot because pretty much every .x update added something that really, I mean, it wasn't the biggest thing, but it did still make a difference. Also, we need to get rid of this now. At least we can grab painkillers while we're here. Discharge, summary, aw. So yeah, you know what? I know RNG can be rough, but RNG's rough in this game anyway, so you know what? I think this character's fine as is. And as my own character, it's a character I made. If I'm saying that, again, I know I'm not the fairest threshold, if I'm really being not humble about it. Even though I can do certain things, in any video game, really, that doesn't mean it's the easiest thing. Also, oof. I didn't pick up the handcuffs. This makes me sad. So we're just gonna run. And unfortunately, I don't think we even think we had running shoes, right? Oh, we do. So thankfully we don't get as much horror. But yeah. Listen, she wants to be efficient. She's gotta switch these shoes, even though, theoretically speaking, she's still kind of wearing them. Also, did I just enter this fight with a lot of pain on my face? 5 strength. Can I brace into anything? I think I can, right? I remember being able to do so. Now, is it the best odds? Maybe not, but this character levels up faster, so therefore their accuracy is a lot higher than most characters would be. Even if it's just by 10%, that can make the difference, as it might do so here. That way, even if we miss once out of 4 times, we're not completely dead. Now, if we miss 2 times, we are, but there's about... Basically, our odds are better with this character. So, funny enough, especially on Zektast, where I like using power... Well, I like using power, and so on Zektast, the characters with higher strength or building into strength means that I can brace more comfortably, if that makes any sense. As opposed to using other items or weapons that may not be as viable. I should heal stamina here. Actually, I die on perception, right? So, funny enough. Because we lose 2 more of a stat. I guess we'll find out, right? But anywho. Talking on this enemy actually deals minus... Yeah, so... Again, if that wasn't on Harbinger, I can see how that could happen. At the same time, on Harbinger, pain. So, yeah, I don't know who's dodging here and making out with dodge. Someone who has better luck than I do, definitely. But, hey. Also, I forgot to grab handcuffs, so we don't have any access to the town anymore. But hey, we're kind of just turning our brain off anyway. So, yeah. Let us see. I don't want to rest because I still want a chance at leveling up. The problem is that, yeah, this 3 reason threshold, funny enough, is as much as I complain about taking 3 reason damage in events due to the threat level penalty on top of minus 2 reason, it's actually pretty fair, because if it didn't work like that on harder difficulties like Harbinger, then you would survival instinct. So 3 is that fair but also sad number where you're like, oh, the pain. I can't use survival instinct, but I can still die, if that makes any sense. So, funny enough, to me, you know, if we're speaking somewhat seriously for a moment, it's still pretty fair. Some people might call it unfair. They're like, why doesn't survival instinct proc on 3 reason and below? Well, it procs below 3 reason, just not at 3 reason, which is that very fine point of oof. And I could try to purposely, you know what, just for giggles, we'll do this. I'm pretty sure this is not consistent in any way, but yeah, that skinless dude, listen. Definitely Metamorphosis. Did I say that? If I didn't, let me correct myself to say that Metamorphosis is definitely top 3 hardest mysteries. Because, you know, if you go in and you're like, well, I beat him just fine. At that point, that's the argument that I think some Harbinger players share as well, where you're already winning, so of course it's going to be easy. It's when you're not winning as much or not sure that Metamorphosis becomes much more of a, I think, an objective, hey, this is a hard mystery. So, you know. Yeah, minus 8 to 9 all. I guess the shining light at the end of the tunnel there is that when you complete it theoretically, you may be able to rest. At the same time, basically all I'm saying is that if that encounter gave you an extra 10 experience, I wouldn't really argue. Because it's a lot to go through. So, of pain and oofness, but yeah. Does the jellyfish or whatever being out there actually do anything? No, as a lot of quote-unquote after effects do, they currently don't. But the fact that they're coded in means that they can do something if and when the developer gets to them. I'm thinking of it in the way as they've set a well, it's probably like a string or something. But even then, it wouldn't be hard to add a variable or switch to that addition of a line, because the game has to add that line in somewhere. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it, be able to read it, right? So basically, the developer has free reign to do anything with those types of effects later on in the future. It's just that he hasn't done anything yet. So, anywho. I think we can one-shot. Unfortunately, for better or worse, our reason goes back up to 4, which, funny enough, is where we want to be at, but anywho. Yeah, like the forest tapes, like a lot of other things. Again, there's a lot as the horror catches up to me that can affect us, and thankfully enough, paranoia here gets us an ally. Again, small balance things, but they do. I mean, objectively, they're there. That event, if you have paranoia, that happens, or you can do that for free. So again, at the same time, this character also has. This option is replaced here if you have paranoia, if you didn't already know. I mentioned it before, but I feel like as we kind of go off tangent for about 20 seconds, I think a streamer, even though it may be redundant to say something that they've said a million times before, I mean, if we're being really practical about it, it at least fills in time, but at the same time, it can also help reinforce, or maybe if your mind changes for some reason because things are different, so be it. Also, thankfully, we had the perception event, but I think we could have. Well, no. We couldn't have completed this. So maybe, well, I guess we'll find out. So 12 damage. I think we can get out in one turn here. Unfortunately, because I didn't give this boss the curious package, pain, a lot of pain. We have Book of Gore, but that doesn't make me feel a lot better. But hey, so that's fair. Not a dev, so can't imagine how much work that is. So. Yeah, funny enough, small things like that can result in big bugs. It really depends on how the game was developed, so I'm not going to put any words in the developer's mouth. All I can say is my own, I guess, pseudocode on how I think things are working. And I'm not saying this is a reason why we should data mine anything, even though on this game we're not allowed to data mine. That's just, again, some people might be questioning why that is. I want to say it's because there's a legal reason for it. I've mentioned what I thought it was before, but at this point, I'm just going to be more generic because, again, I don't know what's happening, right? So, anywho. So, for better or for worse, we have Recluse after this, and I think I'm just going to do 5 bows. Anywho, that's my thoughts on the issue. Again, I'm not. That this is basically hearsay. If you're using this as an argument, it's like, oh, this is why there's no data mining. Just know that that may not be the case. So, anywho, moving onward. But yeah, there's a lot that the developer could do with the world of horror, and thankfully, the developer has allowed the players or the community to take the reins in deciding what can and cannot be done. So yeah. Remember, had a short discussion about game makers making mods to keep a game alive and all. Yeah. And I think someone else was also a part, or someone else threw their hat in. I think it was someone else too. Yeah, there was someone else either at a separate time or at the same time. But I normally think it's a good thing. It could be a bad thing, obviously. Especially if it in the way that it can bring, not bad press, but actually harm a game's commercial existence, I guess. If it caused the game to be taken down. I think there's been one example of that. I want to say there was, but I can't remember. Anywho. Moving onward. Kind of wish Pantstas would just let people do everything. Well, again, I'm not Pantstas. I'm not any developer except my own. So what anyone decides to do for their own game is their decision. Now, knowing that the engine I'm working with, if you know what engines I usually work with, and the main one I work with doesn't really allow for a lot of mod support unless I go out of my way to make a plugin that allows for mods. But that would introduce a whole host of bugs on its own, most likely. So that's why I would probably not do such a thing. Funny enough, maybe I didn't want to take Bath in fear of doing a thing. I actually should have taken Reason. I don't know why I just did what I did. Anywho. I think funny enough, I wonder... So here's what my thing, right? I'm going to test it out now unless we die. Actually, we have 2 reasons now. We shouldn't die. Honestly, just love the game. Always hungry for more content, especially by the developer. Yeah, in that case, yes. But we'll see. We'll see. Pamstaz said it wasn't done. It wasn't done with the game, and I wouldn't believe that either. I mean, I would believe that too. Sorry, did I say something contrary? Anywho, basically, this game's still going to be worked on. Now, it might take another 6 months to a year, but at least we have 1.0 is all that you need to know. Also, that's right. If you have Survival Instinct, rolling 1, 2, or 3 here, but I guess what actually happens, so let's talk about technical development stuff for a while. What I assume Pamstaz did is that the game checks if you rolled 3 or below. Because what it's supposed to happen is that you roll 1, 2, or 3. In this case, we can't really call this a success, right? So, if you want to be really critical about it, you can say that this is a bug, right? Because this is not a positive outcome of quote-unquote succeeding this check. Also, funny enough, maybe it's because of the +1 modifier? I don't know. But essentially what I think is happening here is that the game is checking if you rolled a 3 or below. If it does, what happens is that you get STE counter. So, yeah, about to get a lot of injury. Oh, yeah. So, we'll see what... Actually, let's use it now. So what I want to check is if this still works on... Because you could use the old coin on the run. No, you can't. So, that might be just... Again, talking about technical stuff, that might just be an attribute, whatever you want to call it, a variable, a category, something that's attributed to on the run, where it allows you to use this option, but obviously we don't have... What we can do is get rid of paranoia. So as this character hugs the doll to sleep, oops, we did that, but... Do we die here still? I think we die here still. Unfortunately, well, we have Book of Gore, actually. Never mind, I did completely forget about this. As we get leeches. Wow, I've never gotten this before. Chance of losing 1 stamina. There's a lot of chances at losing stamina, but I think we know the thing here, unless that was last run. Either way, never mind. So let's just sever. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be... We're gonna eat a lot of injuries, basically. So, burns, leeches... We die here? No, we don't. Burn only takes effect afterward. Question mark? Broken bone. We need a lot more than that, basically. Broken jaw. Never mind. Hey! Pseudo-infinite healing for infinite healing for everyone else but me. But hey, that's a lot of damage to... That's a lot of HP to heal, by the way. Unfortunately, yeah. Actually, it does... No, for a reason. That's fair. But yeah, unfortunately, this is where we probably die. So, even if we throw the monkey wrench, I'm pretty sure we die here. Can I brace, actually? No, I can't. Yep, so... I mean, again, we're just testing things on Zytas. Theoretically, I could still survive. I'm not going to try and struggle any more than I can, though. So, with a broken jaw and a lot of pain... I mean, can we? 5 dexterity? Thankfully, with 5 dexterity, we can go for this. 50%, though. We can, but I don't think we can trade enough, right? Well, yeah, we can, actually. 4. So, we'll do this. Maybe I shouldn't have let go of Book of Gore, then. But, in any case... Oh, this is still... I don't want to throw the monkey wrench. I think we have to, though. It does at least 4 or 5 damage, I want to say. Yeah, 7 damage. That's a lot of throw damage, by the way. A small plus, but still another plus for why the monkey wrench is good. And actually, I think we do survive. So thanks for that. Thanks for reminding me. I often forget, even though I tell myself and the players in other videos not to do that. But anywho. Again, we're just testing the character mostly. I think I still may die here. Let's find out. I probably didn't need to rest. But again, low stakes, no stakes. But yeah, in any case, we should do this. Again, if nothing else, for emergency reasons or bare minimum, my stream should usually be at least an hour, 30 minutes, or 90 minutes long. But we'll see. I might feel comfortable showing you, because I've already prepared it too, so... Anywho, I can show you a bit as we fight Takushi-san quickly here. Actually, do we die to Takushi-san? We might die to Takushi-san. Never mind. We died to Takushi-san. We're eating too much Doom. We're eating too much Doom. I promise you we're eating too much Doom. So, I could have attack boosted here, but hey. Show. Show again, just to make sure that it's doing. Okay, good. And let's see here. Yeah, I think we die here. We do have Ryuichi. Unfortunately, we have no funds, so oof. But yeah, not like I really cared, so we'll try to dodge, and if we can't dodge, we have to dodge 9 times at least. 8 times? No, that's way too much, but yeah, we're dead here. We could go do there are certain plays you can do if you have certain setups available, but I wouldn't call that a win in my book. Just know that there are setups available where your Doom can shoot up through the roof, but then you somehow correct it. But, hey. Yeah, I completely forgot we had Takushi-san. But anywho, as this happens, I think I will show you. So let me just make sure, because I need to do a thing. So let me see if I can reach it. Yes, I can. So, what I'm going to do is basically show you what I've worked on. And you're going to see World of Horror in the background, and that's not so bad. So this is what it looks like to me. I think we can slowly go down and show you what the character looked like as I was making her. And actually, I have a whole bunch of drafts. So actually, these are overlapping a bit, but that's fine. So, I think I'll just go down, so, just to show you how much of an artist I'm not. So, yeah, let's do this. So, we're gonna do, and there's gonna be a lot behind, but I think I've already switched to it, right? Yeah, so you're already seeing what's on screen. I'm gonna basically show you the save points in which I started. So, this is the character 2-bit. I'm gonna try to commentate too, and this is basically how I go about making characters. This is the character 1-bit. I don't think I've really changed anything here. Again, you can already see some things in the back here. Like, these are the steps I'm showing you because I've every layer turned on, so I'm gonna slowly reduce the layers. This is the character without me filling it in. This is what closer to what it was in the post I had on the other site. But I decided to obviously color it in because I thought red would be just, you know, dark enough that it warrants you doing this. And then, yeah, this is the eyes. The eyes I felt were a bit too low, but they might be a bit too wide now. I'm still not determined on the eyes, but it's good enough, because this is too Tsurime. Even though this character, I think, has those eyes, but when I zoom it out like this, I think, and I hope that doesn't really do anything. Actually, I should do this just to be safe. But, yeah, as I do this, I feel like it was a bit off. So, as I zoom back in here, I ended up making the eyes a little bigger and then lowering the eyebrows. Again, I'm using a lot of visual references too, so I have other tabs pulled up to kind of look at this character. Also, you'll notice that there's a little thing here. That's just a little fun thing I did as I continued. And then this is the character with more shadows-ish, with dither shadows, but I felt that that was too intrusive, so I got rid of them in between these steps here. So, and then we move on to here. This is more, I needed to put the side locks because this is the one that I previewed on the post I had. And I think I did more hair stuff too. Yeah, the hair here, I thought it might be intruding on the thing. Actually, can I turn on the guidelines? I can, right? Yeah, so these are where the guidelines normally is. I think the second notch is for the in between the digits if the character gets double digits. Even the hair up here, or this bow tie up here, this part of her bow tie, actually goes into the HP, but I think the HP overlaps over the character, so that I left. Maybe I might change it, maybe I might not. So how do you add colors? So that's something I didn't do for all my characters until this character. So I would recommend you look for the word palette in the modding talk channel of the World of Horror server. There are 2 specific colors of basically purple that you use, and those are the 2-bit colors. One is a darker shade than the other, but they essentially allow for 2-bit palettes. So that's something I didn't do. I could have done, and I think I just forgot, really. So I'm sorry about that. But I don't think it would be too hard to do. But there are certain tricks that you may want to employ. Basically, if you are using GIMP like I am, you basically use fuzzy select on color areas, and I'll just show you here. I'll use the color blue here, and you've just shaded in like, not like that, sorry. But you shade it in like this, quickly, and you can look through this video again or this VOD if I'm going too fast. Basically shrink so that you're not too intrusive, and I'll use a different color to kind of show you what I mean. But, so let's pretend this is one of the bit colors. I'm going to color it in like this, and that's how you can make it so that you can still have these black outlines so that, you know, I think, for me, in my opinion, I like to leave the black outlines as an outline for layer reasons on the character, but you can choose not to. Just know that basically, again, the step process, and I'll do it again just to kind of, if you want to be more detailed in a certain way, I'll shrink again. I shrink by 1 pixel, and then color it in. So pretend this is the second bit color. Blue is just a placeholder. Pretend blue is black. And that's how you can basically get your colors in. That's what I did for this character here. So let me just turn on this. So again, what I did is, because this used to be black, so if you're working with 1 bit, it might be easier, but I can even do it here. So pretend this is black. Just a really quick, not advice, but how I was doing it, or how I might go on working it on the future. I might become more detailed, but again, so you'll notice it's black right now. If you shrink the borders here, again, this is primarily on GIMP, but I assume Photoshop has a similar thing. So select, shrink by 1 pixel, and therefore you won't be getting any of the black spots here too. And then you do this. So that's literally what I did. In my case though, I think I actually did, you can't see it, but I'm selecting by color. If you're working with Photoshop, if you're working with other image manipulators, if you have a select by color option, you can do the same thing here. And there are other ways you can do it. Again, I'm not the most talented in even GIMP, so really I'm just doing very, very base stuff. So I hope this is, if nothing else, this is informational. I wouldn't put this in a guide video because usually I want my guides to be shorter, but again, I selected by color, so you'll notice that even though if I'm trying to, obviously if I hit the eyes here, I will color over them and like other spots, but you'll notice that I'm not hitting these black outlines, but I'm only hitting probably the things, and you can probably see it. You can see the strokes here. I think you can see it, yeah. So these little dashed lines here are where I could color in, and if you shrink again, you can shrink things more, but obviously that intrudes in where you actually want to 2-bit things. So yeah, again, the step process is select by color or fuzzy select. If you're fuzzy select, if you're being more accurate, like you only want to get, say, this area here, then I personally like to shrink, or you can just do it manually. Like if you really want to do some precise stuff, obviously that takes longer, but if you need to go in and do it manually and add things like that, then yeah, you would do it. Also, I just realized that I'm going over all of this stuff, but it should be relatively fine. So let me just make sure. Okay, so yeah, that's why I did the guides. This is, let me actually save it so I don't mess something up. But so this is where I started beginning, because really this and this, the difference here is that one is more an edit. What I called this one on my layer names is final. So yeah, and feel free to ask me for advice to DM. I'll try to help you as best as I can. But otherwise, most things you can usually look up, either if not on the World of Horror Discord, because there are a lot of talented people there, then on whatever, basically you search engine site for the phrase that you're looking for on the program you're working with. But I'll try to do my best to help too. But yeah, this is where I said that the character was finalized, or finalized, and how I made small adjustments. So this and this is the side locks. This is the eyes, and yeah, this was really, I felt something was off, so I changed it was a change in the eyes and the mouth. The mouth was too low, and the eyes were too high. So, and then this and this was more an eye change, so that the character was looking less at the viewer-ish, and looking more away. And there was also kind of cross-eyed here, I felt. Because for this character and the styles that this, I guess the anime style that's being used here, the mouth is actually closer up to the nose, higher up. So, and it's not as low, which is why I didn't feel as great here. I think this is also, I don't know which one is the preview anymore. I'm going crazy. But anyway, we'll move on. Yeah, this is the eyes, and the nose obviously was a bit longer, but I felt a little Pinocchio-ish too much, so I decided not to do that. Here was a change in the eye lighting, which again was too modern anime-ish for me. So you'll notice as I kept moving on, I made the eyes basically more, I thought, is in the style of where the character came from. And that's usually the guideline I go by as I'm doing it. And then this, yeah, so I was doing more mouth adjustments. Can't find the palette on Discord, so I swear someone talked about it. I think, let me try to search and be sure. That way I feel I'm giving you more accurate information. So let me search. Modding talk, so it should be in modding talk. If you put in modding, it'll show you the in modding talk action. And then, is it purple? Yeah, so purple, and you'll see a post on, or a really recent one. Let me see here. Is it that one? No, it's not. Huh. Or is it by this person? Yeah, it's so search for, you can also search for the user RICE, and it should say from Rice, and then put in the word purple, and then the comment should be purple for the 2-bit colors. Jump to that post, and you should see basically the 2 shades of purple you use, but Rice gives the 4 colors that World of Horror uses. So white, black for 1-bit, and then the 2 shades of magenta, purple, whatever you want to call it. And then play with those colors and see what they look like. I think the darker shade of purple or magenta, again, whatever you want to call it, is the darker one, and the light one is lighter. But obviously it depends on the palette you ultimately use. So actually, let me go in game and test that out, actually. So let me just switch this really quickly, and I will switch the palette, and we'll play, and I'll burn my eye. This is the reason I don't normally play with other palettes. I can work with the softer ones, but normally it hurts my eyes. When I'm watching other people's streams and stuff, unless they're working with the computer UI, I normally don't have an issue. But if I'm playing it myself, for some reason it feels bad. So, as you can see here for, we'll just say her name by now, Elise. For Elise, the darker shade of magenta, I'm pretty sure if we correlate that to what I have on the actual thing. So let me switch back to GIMP, as I proceed to not switch to GIMP. Yeah, so you'll see that that's the darker shade of magenta here. I can try to give you a hexadecimal value too. I'll say it a few times in case people want to listen to it, but the hexadecimal value I seem to see, let me just make sure actually. Okay, the hexadecimal value for the darker shade of purple is C000C0. That is C000C0. And the lighter shade, if I can reach it, by the way, the hexadecimal value is FF40FF. Lowercase. This is all lowercase. Because I think hexadecimal counts for, is case sensitive. So, again, that's all lowercase FF40FF for the lighter shade of purple. And the darker one is all lowercase C000C0. If you work with other colors, I think wonky things may or may not happen. But those are the safe ones that I'm working with. If it's a different shade, again, you can always look at that post that I mentioned by Rice. Search for posts made by Rice and put in the word purple. The name will say something different in the search bar depending on their username, but you should see it because the comment says purple for the 2-bit colors, black and white for normal 1-bit. So yeah. But yeah, as you can see, that should translate to the proper palette here. I think you can see that, right? Let me check. Yeah, you can. So you can see my mouse clicking here. That would be that. Tonica would make a great modded character. Yeah, so people are also trying to do fear and hunger characters, mainly Termina, but you could probably put in one. They wouldn't be too absurd. And I'll actually just play around with the palettes a bit. Let me just go to one that burns my eyes out, and hopefully won't burn your eyes out. So a little warning in case you're really sensitive, but let me just go to, I think, Abyssal. Or Monolith. Monolith is the... Oh my goodness. It burns. It burns my eyes. Why? This would be a challenge just for myself. But oh my goodness, my eyesight. But yeah, you can kind of see the 2-bit here. You can barely see it, but you can see how it makes a difference here. This is technically still a shade darker, but let me get out of here. My eyes. But yeah, I just wanted to at least record that also for a short, because for some reason I think, is hexadecimal values not case sensitive? For some reason I believe they were. Okay, if they're not, they're not, but you get what I mean. I said the values, so the letters are accurate if they're not case sensitive. But anywho, let me go to a nicer one. Usually yellow and kind of reddish are better. This is still a little bit bright for me. That's a really bright for some reason, even though that should be normal. Wait, what's the difference between those two? Ow, 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 my eyes. Okay. It's not actually causing me physical pain, but what do I want to say? Not vertigo, but I can feel my mind. How do I explain it? Self-proclaimed writer, by the way. How would I describe it? They cause my eyes to feel heavier, if that makes any sense. I'm definitely not seeing... What's the exact phrase? But yeah, you can see the... Let me go in game and show you the 1-bit too. But yeah. So, yeah, this is a bit nicer on my eyes. Although if I were to get... I guess it's because if I get used to it, it becomes not culture shock, but it kind of burns me a bit. Again, the same thing. My eyes become a bit heavier. So this is 1-bit, this is 2-bit. And if anyone knows more Japanese than I do, let me know what the best translation for 1-bit girl is, because I don't want to just say 1-bit garu or 1-bit shoujo. I don't want to just say katakana 1-bit. But anywho, I'm sure there's a phrase. I just need to look it up. And that's the best kind of way to help ourselves, right? Also, I shouldn't have saved that. I should have saved the original palette, but let's do this. I think this will save it. So, randomize, go in. And yeah, I can go back to showing you how I worked on this character. So, let me, I also don't have oh, I do have water. Let me take a sip of water. Take a sip of water, everyone. That was more than a sip because I didn't drink any liquids for about 2 hours. So, anywho, let me switch back to GIMP. Why am I always scared of the robots there? But anywho, yeah, so this is final Elise. This is final version. Well, that's edited final. So I call edits after the final on my layers. This is step 2. This is the actual one of the first final versions, even though, yes, there's still some transparency here and there. But this is when I felt comfortable to at least start testing the character out. And I did work on the main first before doing everything else here. So that was my process for this character specifically. And after this, we start working on the drafts. Again, even though the drafts can also be final, I put too many shadows and, funny enough, sometimes less is more. So, yeah, don't go too hard. You can go hard. If you feel good with it, feel free to go hard on your shadowing. This is before the shadowing. You'll see things in the background, that's more the thing. I started coloring in the arms. The hands didn't look off. I think I started modifying the hands as well. And you'll notice there's a perspective problem. I really should start using more horizon line or vanishing points, even if I'm just making a character and there's not really any, how should we say, background to the character. But again, at this point, I call these layers drafts because I'm kind of just fitting it in, making adjustments, fitting it in, or painting things in, like just doing like this randomly. Not randomly, but you get what I mean. Looking at my references in real life, switching between tabs and going, does coffee count? I'm not a coffee drinker, so don't quote me on this. I want to say yes and no. No, in that you probably don't want to be drinking coffee all the time. I say as someone who's actually drunk a certain PO asterisk censored. Although, even that thing was more water content. But I guess it depends, right? I want to say that there are certain coffee types or brands that give enough water to provide you for a while. But don't quote me on that, please. I mean, you can make a clip out of it, but just know it'll be taken out of context. It's out of context, but anywho. Yeah, you'll notice here that this part here is kind of really lopsided. And I don't think that's something I need to get better at, because obviously clothes and just drawing in general is not my forte. If I had to say, though, my drawing ability is definitely better than my ability to make music, because I have not done that at all. But if everything like that were that easy, why would we need, sound engineers, composers, directors, even typesetters for text? I appreciate every job. But anywho, so this was wide or thick Elise, because I realized that this was a bit too wide for my standards, so yeah, again, I'm not a coffee drinker, so it's really out of... And then the hair was a bit too much on one side. I was trying to make Elise face 45 degrees toward the player and away, but I decided that wouldn't really... I had to pick one of the two, and I'd rather have more of the front of Elise than the side. Does that make any sense? Even though I failed on that aspect in all regards. So yeah, here I am. And then this is when this is the step before I started putting in the actual dress. So this is me trying, you'll see a lot of open lines here. This is me trying to figure out the best thing, and then I kind of just go over with black or white, depending if I'm trying to outline something or trying to fill in something. And then I had the brooch here, at least brooch? Question mark brooch? Because that is one of the signature accessories that Elise has on her character, on top of just the bow and the frilly dress. You know, funny enough, even though you could argue, if we're trying to work off of, how do we want to say, anatomy, here's the circle, here's the other circle, but with this particular art style, and the clothes that Elise is wearing, both in real life and not, in real life, you know, this dress, what do you want to say, not the corsair, but it's squeezed a lot in the race, so if you're trying to figure out where Elise's waist is here, it's actually really squeezed up on official artwork, which is actually why I made it a bit thicker, but you know, just some interesting food for thought, if for no one else than me. And then this is when I kind of started just working with a basic body. How did I want her body to look? And I definitely wanted to get the hands, and then you can see me just trying to make the correct arm. Even right now, I think the arm is a bit off, but again, not the greatest artist. So, what's the difference here? Oh, the difference here is me playing again with the eyes, and also adding the brooch, which I think I even just adjusted eventually, but we'll figure it out. Coloring in the thing here, getting the general outline, general outline, general outline. Here I'm actually using, obviously, some techniques like the face guide here. But I think I made her face wider, which is why or maybe smaller. Because if I made it too wide, the problem with World of Horror things, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but a problem that you'll encounter is, and I see a lot of people not mess up, but I'll put the guides here to kind of help me figure out, is that when the character's too large, you do block the stats. I think the stats in particular don't overlap. And I'm not gonna be angry, but it's a bit frustrating if and when the stats are ever fixed in a way that they go above, because then I'm just gonna be like, well, there's all this empty space I'm not using now. But anywho. So yeah, I guess I'll leave the guides up because there's not much else happening here. It's just more outline stuff. And at this point, this is the very beginning, where I started working on the face, and these are basically, for those who don't know as much, and if anyone knows more about art, correct me, this is how I basically try to center the eyes. At the same time, you still have to pay attention, especially if you're working off an IP. For me, anyway, when I work off an IP character, or a character from another source that I don't try to draw myself, I kind of break the rules here, and that's kind of an art thing too. You make rules, but also break them if you know what you're doing. For Elise in particular, the eyes can't sometimes be this low, but this is still a good guideline so that you can make adjustments later on, in my opinion. And thankfully I'm using GIMP so I can work with layers and go through the step-by-step process that is, and was, and may still be, in the future, will be making Elise, because if and when we get more status effects that we can do, yeah, that would be a thing that I would have to get back to doing. At the same time, I need to actually disable these layers, because otherwise, if I decide to export this, or render it, whatever you want to say, I really should make... So, the draft layers I made a big folder for, you should try to organize everything. I don't. This is funnily one of the more organized characters I have, but, you know, that's Elise. So, it's good enough. There are more, you know, again, conceptual, detailed things that you can do. This is only how much I can remember, and for the sake of making a, you know, pixel-based character, it's mediocre. It's mediocre on average. At worst, it's, hey, there are a lot of things I can fix, and I know there are a lot of things I can fix. This wrist I might want to fix here. This hand here. So, yeah. But for the purposes of making, hey, a custom character that in a game that's part of modded content, it's fine. And this, again, this is just for characters. This is not events or mysteries at all. So, yeah. But without further ado, I'll probably end this stream with one more run, so don't click out yet. Unless someone has to go, let me know. I'll try to catch you on the way out. But otherwise, we'll do a quick play-ish. Actually, you know what? For the sake of ethics and whatnot, still think should give an option to have a non-color if I release Elise, who is already out. So, you know, a non-color version, you know, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. We'll see. We'll see. When I make the Japanese version, maybe I'll add in a version. But then, well, no, I mean, it's all on me to actually say, hey, here's a version where you can just color it in and whatnot. At the same time, at this point, I've also started adding the note that, hey, you can do anything you want with the character within reason of World of Horror. Obviously, you can't go breaking terms or doing things you shouldn't do. But as we get Eldritch Parasite, all perks, random item. And all perks, again, what I said would be interesting because I have On the Run. But yeah, I should do that. We'll see how much I can do because obviously it'd just be removing a 2-bit. So it really wouldn't be that hard. It really shouldn't be. Well, let me see. Eldritch Parasite, huh? Don't think you would add too much colors to characters in World of Horror. Yeah, so that's the thing. And even including shadows, but yeah, including shadows and whatnot is a heck of a thing. Because sometimes less can be more. But if you know where to put shadows, that's not an excuse for me to not put shadows where they make sense. So, who did I have? Whatever, Katak. So do Katak, Eldritch Parasite, all perks, and random item stats. On the Run, Paranoia, Elise. And just as an off tangent, when I make characters, I usually try to not spoil things about where they came from. Again, to each creator their own, as I feel my voice cracking. Hold on. Yeah, knowledge, dexterity, strength, Takushisan light, and maybe second mystery. And we'll move on. From the 2 that you made a while ago, you made the outfit's color or not. You made the, yeah. So, again, to each creator their own. You're not obliged to, but at the same time, I think for my characters, usually they're simple enough where you could just go in and edit them yourself anyway. Obviously, I'm not giving you the raw files that I'm using, but the PNG should be more than enough. But at the same time, that's no excuse, right? If I really wanted to put in other things. Also, that's right, we're on Eldritch Parasite. So, I was about to use the library notes. I caught myself there. But yeah, I've started doing 2-bit, and that's something I probably want to do to most, if not all of my characters. So we'll see. Nails, Recluse, Arms, Flood, Bulletin. Well, that is not a fun spread if I've seen anything. That being said, I don't have to level up. Ooh, how do I want to do this then? Well, I guess we'll find out. I guess I'll just start by punching and kicking everything. 2 knowledge, by the way. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in this run. But yeah, that's pretty much... Obviously, it would take me a little longer or shorter. If I'm doing runs, it'd probably take me less than an hour, but because obviously I'm doing a stream, you know, it helps out. I still feel like the chibi is a bit too wide for me, but as I get bite into an infected wound immediately, but... Oh, nice strength roll, by the way. But I think it's fine for now. I also should really use the police station. I don't know why I'm doing this. And then we get double paranoia. Funny enough, oh, I think I need to call the label curse, but status works as well, right? Otherwise it wouldn't show like this. Anywho. I think the reason why it shows in white is because I named it as a status, but I guess that's fine too. Because, well, no, because status show... Anywho, moving on. Basically, the character is in a workable state, but we'll see. The option is there. If someone releases a character, allows changes to it. You can, for example, take the 2-bit, just make it black and white. That's all. Yeah, so, again, it wasn't on my mind until you mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, that's a good point. But we'll see. Because then I have to think. Also, do I just want to eat this stamina in the face? I have 7 strength. Why am I... I need to take as much experience as possible. Unfortunately, that's a lot of stamina damage. But we'll see. So yeah, and again, not everyone is always getting like 12 strength, 12 knowledge, so the character kind of blocking the second digit is usually a non-issue. But as you can see here, the HP is kind of obscured, but obviously if you go below 10 reason, 10 stamina, it's perfectly fine. It's when your character is too big, which is why, again, moving forward, I think a lot of my characters will be smaller like this. Even though, at the same time, you know, you can make them bigger if they're... As long as you have the neck too, because Insmasu look or certain status effects kind of need, you know, neck, shoulder access to your character-ish. But, again, you could be creative with it, is what I'm trying to say still. So, as we prep kick, and take like, what? I think we took like 6 stamina damage there. So, let's do village first. I'm pretty sure there's a better one if I'm going to be locked out somewhere, but... Anywho, someone doesn't feel like doing the extra work, someone like that, someone wanted no colors, can take the PNG and modify. Yeah, so that's, like I said earlier, you could just modify the PNG. Now, would it be nice? Sure, but... Anywho. For charisma, a lot of pain. Unfortunately, we don't have a single weapon. If I could run away, maybe? Question mark? I guess we'll see. I would like funds. Unfortunately, why do stats matter? But hey. Basically, if you're going without a certain certain planned strats in Eldritch Parasite, you're hoping that your event RNG is better than average. Because I don't feel like my run is that, well, forget what I just said. On Harbinger, your rolls are going to be bad. So, you want something more than what I have here. Because this 1 damage, 7 kicks, boy, is not fun. Oh, we're on Katak, that's right. Whoopsie doopsie. I guess we do go for the ghost ritual here. So, what is it gonna... I'm just gonna go out of my mind. I think we're just gonna go out of my mind. That's fine. It's a Thursday stream. Thursday, I don't expect a lot of people to be here-ish. But, this is probably not the right thing to do. So, there are 2 claps. I proceeded to put in 3, because I don't know why. So, I'm just gonna go out on a limb. No, actually, then we'll do this. And if we die, we die. Basically, I'm thinking about when I want to end the stream. We'll see. But, so 3, that means only 1 bow was in the correct position. So let's do this. Question mark? No, that's wrong. I'm going out of my mind. Let's find out. I know there are 2 claps. And then I switched everything else in the wrong spot-ish. Or was it this? No, it's not that, because 4 were wrong. I'm going crazy. I should have really pulled up the flowchart. Anywho. You know what? We'll pull up the flowchart now. Why not, right? Yeah, so Q out of Eldritch Parasite or use your strat for get Ghostly Spirit or Mind Drain. Yeah, that's my preferred strat. But let me see. I need to start remembering the phrase that people use to remember this. Otherwise, I could just look up the guide on Steam, I believe. Let me see here. Oh my goodness, someone put up another kind of flowchart. I don't know why. They'd better be right. Even though I'm probably going to die regardless, because you shouldn't be taking this much damage. This is why I don't normally go for the ritual. Obviously, there are moments that which you can, but boy, does it not feel good, by the way. So I was right. Dude, I do clap, bow, bow, bow. But, and then, yeah, that. So, I think I was on the right track. I just, oh, that's too many. But, I wasn't moving my bows. Unfortunately, I don't remember. So, what I did or didn't do. So, I guess we'll hope that I'm doing the right thing here. And I think I was not. No, I was not. Well, we'll die trying to learn it, but clap, bow, bow. I should really just learn this flowchart. It works off logic regardless, but hey. Also, did I just die? Wasn't something at 3? Anywho. No, we'll do one more run. We'll do one more run quickly and call it that. So, away we go. We'll do Yoggothag this time, but still do Eldritch Parasite, because if you're really unlucky, you get a mystery with no... You get a mystery combination with no free weapon-ish. We'll see. We'll see this one, right? So the template is on the wiki. Yeah, I could have searched the wiki as well. I've already made too many mistakes. Again, theoretically, I think the flowchart is max 5 attempts, but on average, we'll be lenient and say 3. And if you take 6 all damage, I don't know, man. I don't know. So Charisma, Dexterity, Strength, Light second encounter, maybe. And because we're so confident we'll get a weapon for free somewhere, even if it is the wooden bet, we will do this. We'll set the illegal den and move on. So we'll go 1 bit Elise and move on with life. So, Festival, Hell, Scissors, Kuma, Bolton. Well, we definitely get a weapon here. Do we get the Cursed Scissors is the question. No. So clap 4 bows. Hey, we know the Ghost Ritual now, though. Unfortunately, we're going to be taking some damage before it. So, hey. But yeah, you know what? I would like 20 experience for a reason. That probably wasn't the best trade, but I've made my decision already. Goodness gracious. Enter. Let's see what we do. Hey, katana. Nope. Stamina damage. Because you don't heal on Eldritch Parasite. I'm moving my arm like in the oh boy way, but anywho. Can we brace into an attack at least? I think we can. It's just not accurate. Yeah. But it should be okay. So, as thank you, Netska, for gifting 1 memberships. I actually forgot how that worked because my mind is thinking about something completely different. But, if nothing else, let us see. Why would the platform allow me to secondary click on that message and say, let's put this person in timeout because they gifted a membership? Anywho, moving onward. Can I please hit both of these attacks? That would be very nice. But yes, thank you for gifting the membership. That helps out more than people think that it does. Also, that's right. Random item stats is why I'm doing so little damage. Oh my goodness. Is this possibly the best... Is this possibly the best, worst thing I've seen so far? My goodness, a 3 damage wooden bat. Okay, well, yeah, it's a free weapon, but I get better kick value out of this, funny enough. Oh, buddy boy. Yeah, it doesn't even show who that's... Unless I can check. I can check really quickly. Again, hey, is it apparent that I'm new to how all the aspects of membership works? Let's just take the risk here. You know, if we need to hit all 3, we'll just put them all at 90% and find out. But yeah, regardless, hey, we hit all of them, by the way. And we'll move on. So, I don't think it shows up immediately. Let's find out. So, no, it does not. So yeah, so I've actually never actually been gifted a membership myself. So maybe it depends on the person who gets it gifted, question mark, as we run into Time Warper next. But anywho, yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you. But thank you very much, though. It makes me speechless, really does. So, I just hope that you don't have to use that elsewhere. Listen, $3 to $4 goes a long way. You know what I can make with $3 to $4? Almost nothing, actually. Aside from maybe a short... I don't want to say egg, because that's... I'm trying to think of a place I can readily access that I can buy something for $3 to $4. Aside from just coffee, obviously. Or a snack, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm thinking about what I really want to do here. Do I just want to run? I don't want to run. Oh my goodness, the worst weapon. Because it went to 3, the strong attack became 4. And unfortunately, we're on Eldritch Parasite. If we weren't, I could try to give it the one justification of prep. I can't even prep or desperate prep strong. But this would at least do 9 damage. This is really bad. I asked for this, by the way. I asked for a free weapon. We have to run. We have to run. That's... If I had stealth, that would feel better about it. But unfortunately, we don't. So, yeah. I'm trying to think of... Yeah, the steak knife would... If it gets an increased point of damage, it doesn't. But hey. It would have been nice. And I forgot my thing. Bow... clap bow 4 times. So, hey. Precaution, yeah. So I'm glad for that. I just want to make sure. Also, I think it's this, right? Well, if I were to guess. But anywho, I hope everyone's doing well. Basically, that's all I really ask for. I completely flipped them around. By the way, it was clap bow. It was clap bow 4 times. But anywho, so what was that actually? Clap bow clap bow, right? I'm just gonna write this down because there's no way I'm gonna remember that. I made so many mistakes that yeah. So what I was gonna say before all of that happened, I might not even survive still, but I'm thinking, does stealth pay itself? Obviously, with running shoes, stealth can pay itself off on an on-the-run character, but regularly, 5 Doom for 10 experience, but 5 Doom is 10 horror progress, so 10 horror progress for 10 experience. That's okay, but it's still not the best, right? I understand that it's kind of ish. It's trying to fall in line with how much you usually lose. But because you're taking a perk slot, it's still not as... That's something similar. I think someone, if I didn't already mention it, someone had a good idea for another perk as well. Didn't pay attention, but on the run function on custom character. Yeah, it does. So, it functions not exactly 1-to-1. But if you weren't here for it, then essentially what happens on Ill-Fate is that you get 138.3 experience, but you still level up within 50. So you get to level up twice. Which, yeah, it's technically a bug and also literally jank, but as I roll a 12 plus 3, it lends itself to an interesting interaction. Now, unfortunately, what happens is that if Juri gets changed, and on the run specifically gets changed, then this part goes away, but I still wouldn't mind 66 experience on a custom character. So yeah. No, you do have horror progression. You will see my Doom hit. You will see my experience revert to 0 over and over again eventually. So it's not as great as you think. It still functionally works at its foundation. You just can't see the horror progress. Yeah, you just can't see the horror progress. And you won't get a message about it, but you'll still see the graphic for it. And most obviously, you'll see your experience hit 0. So, hey. So it's because we took winging it, I'm going to take survival instinct. But, anywho. So yeah, this does it lends itself to an interesting interaction where you want to keep in mind your knowledge. If you know how on the run works, yeah, it might be unfair to some players, but essentially all you really need to know, if we're gonna obfuscate it a bit, is that, and I wanted to put it on this character's information page, maybe I should still, but that means I have to squish things. Also, I think we're fighting the phone here, right? I can just say no, but yeah, you basically can still count the horror progress. What I'm not sure of is the exact number of how it works. Because I feel like I'm not actually losing 10 horror progress, quote-unquote, behind the scenes. But again, if it is always at 50%, I can at least say it easier. But we'll see. We'll see, right? That's why I added that disclaimer when I released this character, that the on-the-run works differently. But anywho, ever since 1.0, the horror progression decreasing after Mystery Resolve, too many changes didn't play Juri enough sense. Yeah, so I mentioned that earlier as well. That, yeah, things have changed, so it is more manageable-ish, but at the same time, based on how I'm playing it right here and how I feel the character's performing, I don't think it's so bad. But, you know, if nothing else, I immersed myself in giving on the run to Elise, so, hey, whatever you think that means, hey, I know what it means, and yeah, so with that graphic, maybe it's always at 50%. If that's the case, because I feel like my horror progress wouldn't be that high if I passed 2 mysteries, right? So maybe that's the case. Actually, let's run a few tests and be sure, or let me try to run a few tests and be sure. So yeah, as you'll notice right here, I have no longer gained. You know what? I'm probably gonna die here, but yeah, I'm not getting any more experience. So the horror part of the on the run status is taking effect. It's everything else that I'm afraid about. So yeah, I personally don't like steak knife or police revolver for mainly this reason. Obviously, if I had more accuracy, it would be a bit better, but hey. Still didn't come to play Goody Two Shoes, but you know why she has on the run. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna leave it as it is, as I proceed to miss everything in the world. But, oh my goodness, please. Can I hit 3 of these? No, I cannot. Yeah, it's at 40%, so I shouldn't have expected much, but, you know. So yeah, and I wanted to play, when I saw, I already knew I was going to make Elise, and then I saw how On the Run functioned with custom characters, because I test a lot of things out on like template characters. And so I saw it worked. I'm like, oh, I could use that on Elise. So I did. On top of Necronomicon and Safety in Numbers, but that is for a character that I don't want to release. So we did Elise. Pun and rhyme not intended. But yeah, can't stay, just want to say hi. So hi, and bye. I hope you have a good one. Stay safe, have fun. If you can watch this while you can and you have fun, I thank you for watching. But yeah, thank you for letting me know. That makes me feel good. So yeah, as we get into coma and probably die to one reason, yeah, thankfully we do have survival instinct. Unfortunately, there are events that just decide to remove reason, like possibly this one. So while we know the thing, we die. So hey, fearful. But let's do a quick test, right? Because theoretically speaking, no. Well, yeah, theoretically speaking, we have the runs already. I'll do it on an easier difficulty as well. But I'm just gonna go in and do Dog Shop, and we'll see how many times it hits. Because obviously, I set the wrong thing, but we can do the hardware store as well. Obviously, it will. Yeah, what we want to do is hardware stop, refresh a bunch of times. So let's just do a few normal tests. So no, that's at 40. That was at 40%, right? And we can be sure by just going in, because every investigation gets you experience. So yeah, the horror progress caught up there. So maybe it is working actually as intended. I think it is still removing doom at the end of a mystery. But in any case, it functions close enough to how I expect it to function. There might be a few jank things here and there, but at least it's not, say, giving you the horror at 15-25% doom. Do you get what I mean? So, anywho, let's just do another quick test really quickly, and I think that'll actually be the end of the stream. So, funny enough, that, you know, someone not staying for long fits well enough, but let's do this, actually. Although, yeah, 40% doom, unless there's something else that happens, but theoretically my horror progress is at 48%, right? Why did it... And if we do this a few times, then our horror shouldn't catch up. Oops, I accidentally did that. Well, regardless, let's do some things here. Why did 40%? It should be 50% doom. Unless something else is happening, and I'm not seeing... I want to test that out with Juri now. So our last test here will be on horror stuff. Nonetheless, it's still an interesting interaction. So, you know... But let's do Juri really quickly. Am I going crazy? This is a simple quest. Yeah, no, the monument doesn't reduce horror progress. I just want to see if... when I'm using the monument, I want to see if the horror doesn't just catch you at a certain doom percent for custom characters anyway. If it does, that would be really weird, but let me just see. Oh, well, no. Wait, that's how that functions? So you notice how my doom is only increased. Oh, wait, no, I think the developer changed the ratio, right? Because it's no longer a 1 to 2. So what it used to be was every time doom increased by 1%, horror increased by 2. But I think there's a... Wait, does doom decrease faster? I want to look that up really quickly. Let me see if I can find that really quickly. Wow, I can't even see that. Horror progress. Horror rate really returns no results. So, minus 10 horror progress, but it looks like the rate... Well, actually, can we calculate this out right here? So, let me see. Let me just do this. If for no other reason than for myself, right? I mean, we have about 5 minutes of the stream left, minimum, so... Of my thing, so... 1640, 1948. 3... 8... 2256, right? Yeah, 2256, that's it again. Same, or same. 2564, right? We're still on the right track. Next one should be 2872, right? 2872, 3180, 3488. Is this just rerolls? What's going on here? And is it only for increases of 3% doom? Again, more testing would be required. That would explain why when I hit 40% doom here, the horror progress hits. Okay, so that makes sense to me, but basically we can use Juri as our placeholder to figure out how things work. If you really want to play as Elise, I guess, and not be as blind to, or not be as unknowing as to where your doom is going. But that being said, I could leave the library. Yeah, you know what? Let's leave the library and play with that. Because the library has a similar thing. Otherwise, we also have vending machine and, well, technically illegal den. We can use illegal den because we know what happens in the. Well, actually, no. Doom increased by 4, but we got 8%, right? Am I going crazy there? Anywho, witch tree. We can test a bunch of things. So let's go into something where we have access to town, like hell, household hell. And then let's see. So vending machine. How much Doom progress does this get me? 2%, 4%. 4%, 8%, 6, 12, 8, 16, 10, 20, 12, 14. So that's always, if there were any odd, or not oddities, but if it were like 2% per, let's just say 3.5 horror, it would show by now. So illegal den is 12, 24, 14, 18. So this is also the thing. But if you re-roll, this turns into 36%. No, it doesn't. 20, 40, 23, 46, 26, 52, 29, 58. So that's odd. So it's 3 for 6 in the legal den. Not that that really... It's a very minuscule difference. It exists, but for Harbinger... For Harbinger strategization, it doesn't make... Also, let me just make sure. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I just saw something. I was just trying to make sure that the thing was doing a thing. So, okay. Never mind, nothing's wrong. Let me see. Tree. 2958. I thought this doesn't increase Doom. No, wait, you have to use it, right? 2958. No, it does. Well, hey. Betting machine is still, yeah, 3162, 3366, 3570. And just to be sure, Monument doesn't do anything. It does not. And Library, 3 Doom, 2 Doom. So 3270, 3474, 3678. Yeah, so again, this is how it normally works. Okay, so nothing was really off. Basically, as long as on top of, unless you're doing ill-fated, everything else works the same for On the Run. If you didn't know how On the Run works. So, without further ado, I think that'll be the end of this Thursday stream, unless you're in a different time zone. It may be Friday already, but without further ado, I'd like to call that for the end of the stream. Just gonna say, if you want to support me long term, for anyone who's who hasn't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. That would help me out the most long term. Otherwise, if you want to help me out now, more like, then we have memberships open for $3, and that's all I'll say. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you have anything to say it. I will thank everyone for coming by. Would be OP if Monument decreased. Yeah, I think that was something that was talked about, but that let me see, hold on. Came. But yeah, the Monument decreasing horror progress was something that we decided shouldn't happen. Even if you decrease Doom, there shouldn't be any ratio. But anywho, without further ado, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If anyone has anything to say, you know what to do. I have a discussion page, I have videos that you can just comment on. Recent ones I might catch better, but yeah, without further ado, that'll be all. So, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. One last time, I'd like to thank you, and bye!